This is the book of Second Esdras. Salakia for the noise in the background. This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and I'm gonna drop down and go to Second Esdras 15, verse 16. Second Esdras 15 and 15. For the sword and their destruction draw near, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. Second Esdras 15, verse 16. In the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, for there shall be sedition among men invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Parkadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And as you've seen, I brought out the scriptures. Second Esdras 15, verse 15, verse 16, and Second Esdras 9 and 3. With the continued uproars and the people in the world. And this is a news article of from Dutch Well 6 hours ago, and from MSNBC, and the highlight of this news article, and it reads, protest storms Libya parliamentary building in Tobruk. It says that the UN and EU have condemned protests who broke in the parliamentary building and set fire in front of it, the power cuts, and sparked widespread anger. The United Nations and European Union on Saturday condemned protesters in Libya who stormed parliamentary building in Tobruk to express their anger with government over recent power cuts. And it says local TV stations reported that protesters broke in the building of a parliamentary in Tobruk on Friday and committing acts of vandalism. Images also show columns of black smoke coming from outside the building. Security forces, protesters, and preliminary withdrawal from the site. Reuters cited an eyewitness saying a UN advisor of the Libya, Stephanie Williams, called the storm of the government building a total unacceptable, while insisting that people's rights to peaceful protest should be respected and protected, should call a restraint on all sides. So yeah, that's an image right there when they storm in the building. So you're gonna see these upticks of increases of these uproars of the people, of these citizens of these countries and nations. That's in the uproar of their political leaders, figures that's in rulership. And bring out another news article as well too. And this is from Sudan, and it says thousands rally in Sudan a day after 9 people were killed during protests. And this is from the Associated Press, World News, published on July the 1st, 2022 at 5:54 p.m. Central Standard, Eastern Standard Time, if that's correct, I guess. But it says thousands took the streets Friday in Sudan's capital, a day after 9 people were killed in demonstrations against the country's ruling generals. The United States and others in the international community condemns the violence in this Eastern African nation, which has been rocked by nearly weekly protests since October the 25th, apprehending its fragile transition to democracy. The rally on Thursday was the largest seen in months. The Sudanese military authorities have met protesters with a deadly crackdown, which have so far killed 113 people, and including 18 children. So yeah, these is uproars in the people in the world increasing even more than ever. And I believe there was another protest in the Netherlands. I'm gonna bring that up as well too. Excuse me if I ain't spelling Netherlands right. Slovakia. And they said this is from the express.com.uk, and it says Slovakia. I'm trying to see if this recently. I was just making sure. It says this is from the express.com.uk. It says now another crisis hits the EU. Hundreds of tractors block the German and Netherlands border. And it says the farmers in the Netherlands have staged a huge protest with thousands of tractors lined up to block the German-Netherlands border in a campaign against the government's controversial nitrogen policy. And this was published on Saturday, July the 2nd, and updated on July the 2nd, 2022. They said protest is demonstrating in the front of severe public with manual and slurring after a politician voted on a proposal to slash in emissions of damage and pollutions, a plan which forced the farmers to cut their livestock herds or to stop working, although the Prime Minister, Mark Rutte's government says the emissions of nitrogen, oxygen, and the manual which livestock produce must be drastically cut back close to nature areas, which are a part of a network of protest habitats for endangering plants and wildfire scratchings across the EU. And it says Dutch farmers turns out their thousands to speak out against the World Economic Forum's, the WEP, climate change policies of their government. It says photos shows thousands of trucks blocking the German-Netherlands border. The journalist posted a video of Twitter writing farmers who learned from the Canadian freedom protests are currently blocking the Netherlands-German border, which tractors to protest the WEF climate change policies of the government. So this is recently, So, that goes to show you with the uproars and the people in the world, and I want to bring those scriptures out again, I had to cut the video early because my sister had called, so now I had to do it over again, Now I'm about to bring these scriptures out in regards to those articles that I brought out with the protesters and stuff. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 3. And verse 3 in the book of 2nd Esdras to the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars in the people in the world," right, because he's saying uproars in the people in the world, They seeing earthquakes in diverse places. That's increasing as well too. But my main focus is on the uproars and the people, you know. And this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 15. For a sword and their destruction draw near, and one people should stand up and fight against one another, and swords in their hands, right? You're going to see that increase as well too. That's coming very soon. Even though we're seeing signs of that, you know, we're seeing signs of previews of that, but for what's about to come, it's going to give it even more hectic when that time hits. Once it gets fully into effect, you know. 2nd Ezra 15, verse 16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their princes in the course of their actions to stand in their power. Right, because that's what you see in these protests in the world today. As I brung up that over there in Libya, they stormed the building, and it had political leaders against the political leaders. He was cutting down on something, I believe, some type of shortages or something like that, of cutting down power shortages, cutting down on power. So, you know, the people over there in Libya, you know, they stormed the building, and they was in the uproar of that after one of the political leaders made that decision on it to do that, the cut down on the power supply policy, I believe. So, you know, they stormed the building, set it on fire. We seen black smokes. That I showed the image of the photo right there over there in Libya, you know. So that shows you, even though we so used to custom of hearing these things, but it's gonna rapidly increase even more and more in these last days, you know. And then just like you had that over there in the German and Netherlands border, you have the farmer type thing, I believe. You had uproars of that because I believe the political leader had made an announcement on cutting short certain things or something like that. So, you know, that's why now you having like people that's within the German and Netherlands border doing protests over there, you know, blocking the area of that. So, you know, that goes to show you what the increase of uproars of the people, and they should not regard their kings nor their princes. And that's what we're seeing right now. And they should stand in their power. That's why the citizens of this country, the citizens of the countries, you know, the countries around the world, not just here in the United States, but around the world as well too, as you seeing all these protests taking place, you know. And then that protest over there in Sudan, I believe like 9 people had got killed and the dozens were injured, you know. They still doing that anti-coup thing, I believe, which started in October the 25th of last year, I believe. And then I believe it was the largest protest that they had about like 2 or 3 days ago, and it had increased, you know. So that goes to show you, you know, hey, in these last days, hey, these protesters and these citizens of these countries that oppose their political leader, the political figure that's in charge, that makes these certain type of laws and decrees, I believe, you know, they're gonna highly oppose it, and then they go do whatever it takes to overthrow it, you know. Just like over there in Sri Lanka, you know, you had that politician leader over there, you know, they set his car on fire, set his close to his house on fire and stuff like that, and then they was trying to look for him and stuff like that. So, you know, hey, these protests, these citizens of these countries, hey, they're gonna take these protests to the next level, and that's what you've been seeing, you know. Hey, it's gonna increase even more and more and more, you know, the uproars of the people of the world, and that's what we are seeing, you know. And I'm gonna bring out Luke 21 and 25. Then I'm gonna close out the lesson. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations were perplexity, the seas and the rains of warring, right? Because that's what we're seeing, the distress of nations the disgrace of nations around the world. Because the disgrace of nations, they in the uproar with their leaders and their politicians, and their political figures. The left versus the right, the war versus Wade thing. And more protest is going to increase, and more increase of disgrace of nations as well too. So it's going to increase more and more and more. So with that, I hope this quick lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and great millstone. Christian word, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe. Christian word, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird. Christian word, truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom.